Ninja? Check. Baseball bat? Check. Man? Debatable. Hello everybody, I'm Araknie and this is Ninja Baseball Batman. Not Batman. Batman. Not the Bat Vigilante, but Batman. Whatever. Anyway, this is a beat'em up. Oh, another! They made so little of those. And somehow this still has enough creativity to impress me. First of all, the story. And gone to your seats. A golden statue of Babe Ruth has been broken up and spread all over the US of A. But that was for good, because putting it back together is dangerous unless you keep it away from somebody wanting to possess it. Apparently doing that steals the power from the spirit of Babe Ruth himself. So you gotta do everything. Put it back together and defeat the possession. And everything is themed around baseball. Enemies are baseballs, pitchers, receivers, bats, but not the flying kind, gloves, and anything that might seem even remotely adjacent. Was baseball famous in Chicago? Yes. Okay then, put dogs dressed as the Al Capone gang in it, also playing cards since Al Capone played the casino, and the boss of the level is a car since Al Capone loved cars. What? Do it! That's how I imagine the pre-production meetings going, at least. Considering each stage is set in a different United States city, they've got some weird extras aside from the baseball team. Explaining how the game plays is a bit difficult since you get 4 characters and they made them all have fighting game combos that are different from each other. It's really so many moves, but they share the basics. I mean, I just reviewed the Punisher and Melfan stories. You don't need me to tell you how to jump and attack at this point, right? I would hope not. They only share a single move together and that is an encounter one. If you clash attacks with an enemy and you're fast enough to press the attack button again, you get to do a home run. It's a move that does 3 times the damage of what your currently used batter can do with a normal one. Of course, they all have different statistics and they're explained to you if you let the attract mode run, so no hidden data this time around. So what I do is to describe the characters and their differences directly. And yes, once again there's 4 of them. Captain Jose is a combo-oriented attacker that relies on them to get the enemies down and then you get close to them to grab them. He also has 3 specials that you need to discover how to do. Also on the attract mode they give you a hint on how to do that. You don't know the buttons because they are question marks, but you get to see how many of them and how many specials each have and what their name is. Sometimes that could be a hint towards the movements and presses you have to make on your arcade. It's a balanced one, good old Jose, but seriously so and around the enemies, that's pretty unusual. Range, attack, defense and speed are all making for a very compelling character. Usually it's regulated amongst the other playable ones, so that makes him the easier to pick up and also the best one to play with. At least for me, since I managed to combo 2 different combos for a total of 11 hits a couple times. I'm sure you can do it with the others too, but it's not as easy, let me tell you. And speaking of that, Twin Bats Rhino is a speed-centric character that sacrifices all the other attributes aside from that. It has 2 smaller bats, but their range is pretty terrible. Well, everything about this one is really horrible. You get it very easily. You need to be close as their belly button. Also, you only have 2 specials and your counter has such small windows it basically activates purely on luck. I really don't like this Rhino. It makes the game feel like it's not well designed. It ruins everything. Imagine somebody that plays this game once and picks only him. That's a terrible experience. Basically a waste of a slot. Fortunately then you get Bimball Roger and he's a very strong tank. He has a very peculiar baseball bat, very Fred Flintstone like. I won't believe that he doesn't crush bones in your body if he hits you with that. This guy kills. Forget how the bodies disappear usually in these games. This is first degree murder through and through. And I love it. It's the only one that can interrupt other baseball folks combo and reverse their grabs. He also gets only 2 specials, but that's because it needs to be more balanced compared to the others. With so much power otherwise you will be so strong that it will be kinda trivial. The final one is Stickstraw, a very peculiar character for this game. Until now, they will become more common in the future. and is a range guy, but not with a firearm, with a baseball bat that basically shaped like a lens. Instead, that long distance allows you to attack from so far away that you cannot get it in most cases. I got to only use 4 credits with this guy. It's a very useful beast, this weirdly shaped bat. Also, it gets 4 specials. The flyer says 3, but there's a 4th hidden one that I discovered by accident, just trying some various classic combo inputs. That makes me wonder if there is a secret combo for all the other characters, but I really have not time to try and discover this. It's one of those things that when you try so hard to find it you never manage, and instead they happen only when messing around casually. Graphically has a big positive and a big negative. The big positive is that the art style on this Saturday morning cartoon special lends itself specially to the ridiculous nature of the subject matter. You get to go from place to place and it all blends together naturally because they, correctly, decided to make it start already pretty cartoony. You can throw a baseball to a living baseball in the first minute. It starts off strong. The big negative is that it blends a little too much. Only a couple locations really stand out as really different. Certainly not helped by much else rather than the unique enemies you encounter in those that maybe are not exactly baseball themed. As somebody who doesn't like the sport, that was a nice change of pace. Also because they don't do too much with the levels. Some vertically sometimes, and going right to left in a couple occasions is appreciated. Also you get to drive a car and run a few creatures over in a bunch of occasions, and that was fun. But the uniqueness comes from everything else, including the bosses. Like a plane boxing with you inside a plane. Or Al Capone's car being angry that you're trying to kill its owner. A bunch of baseballs coming together to face you is always fun. Anything that reminds me of slimes from Dragon Quest banding together to form a king slime will always bring me joy. And the music is the most 90s OST I've ever heard up until this point, and I mean that as a compliment. Between vinyl scratches, sound effects and weird vocalizations, I was really having a blast. It's not the most original since a few of them I found really similar between each other, but when it hits, you really feel it. It's just a show of force from the two composers, simply demonstrating how to have fun while making music. We can only aspire to be as aloof as those two. So, Ninja Baseball Batman gets an 8 out of 10 for how incredible it may sound. While Melfan Stories tries so hard to give you a story reason to be replayable but failed in areas, this title takes a different approach. It shows that gameplay and originality can carry further along, even if by a little bit. Unfortunately, I don't think more of it because at this point I have played so many of these beat-em-ups and a lot of really diverse ones. I need more uniqueness in the gameplay now to consider them to enter a pantheon of the very best representatives of the genre. If you wanna see me play the games that I will review plus some extra stuff, catch me on Twitch at Araknie Retro. It's my natural habitat, you see? Until next time, ciao ciao!